Burkina Faso just said a no to America. Not just any no, a defiant one. The Trump administration reportedly offered the West African nation a deal. Taking deportees from the U.S., even if they're not your citizens. But Foreign Minister Karamoko Jean-Marie Traoré had just one response. Burkina Faso is a land of dignity, not deportation. And with that, a small West African nation stood tall against one of the world's biggest powers. Since 2022, under Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso has transformed from a war-torn state into a symbol of African sovereignty. But now, it faces a new kind of pressure, not from France, not from terrorism, but from Washington, D.C. Cut to Archive of Trump-era immigration crackdowns. The Trump administration, once again at the center of controversy, proposed a deal, a third-country deportation program. A secretive system that moves deportees to nations they've never even been to. In late September, Burkina Faso received a proposal: accept not just your citizens, but others deported from the U.S. Countries like Rwanda, Ghana, and Eswatini had already agreed, reportedly in exchange for millions of dollars in U.S. aid. Visual: Minister Karamoko Jean-Marie Traoré on national TV. Audio clip: reenacted voiceover. Naturally, this proposal, which we deemed indecent, is totally contrary to the value of dignity which is part of the very essence of the vision of Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Within hours of that statement, the U.S. Embassy in Ouagadougou suspended most visa services. Coincidence? Or a calculated move? Embassy gate closed, people in line, official statements blurred. According to the Burkinabe foreign minister, Washington cited visa misuse by Burkinabe citizens. But many see this as political pressure, a diplomatic pushback after Burkina Faso. The United States is using migration policy as leverage in Africa, a way to control who gets aid, who gets punished, and who obeys. Map of Africa with highlighted nations: Eswatini, South Sudan, Rwanda, Ghana, Uganda. So far, more than 40 deportees have been sent to Africa under this program. But stories from the ground are grim: 6 detainees in South Sudan, 7 unaccounted for in Rwanda, and 11 suing Ghana for inhumane detention. Since 2022, under Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso has transformed from a war-torn state into a symbol of African sovereignty. But now, it faces a new kind of pressure, not from France, not from terrorism, but from Washington, D.C. Cut to Archive of Trump-era immigration crackdowns. The Trump administration, once again at the center of controversy, proposed a deal, a third-country deportation. The U.S. offered financial incentives to some African nations to accept deportees, a troubling blend of money, migration, and manipulation. But Burkina Faso is pushing back, sending a message to the world that Africa is no longer for sale. Traoré addressing youth, soldiers saluting, Pan-African flags. Captain Ibrahim Traoré has become a symbol, not of rebellion, but of rebirth. His message is simple: Africa must stand tall, sovereign, and dignified. Clip montage: Burkina Faso cutting ties with France, new alliances with Russia, ECOWAS tensions. For Traoré, rejecting this U.S. deal wasn't just policy, it was principle. A declaration that dignity matters more than dollars. Across the continent, reactions have poured in, from admiration to fear. Some call it courage. Others call it risky diplomacy. But one thing's clear: the world is watching Burkina Faso. Once dismissed as one of Africa's poorest nations, Burkina Faso is now leading one of its proudest stands. Against the odds. Against pressure. For dignity. For sovereignty. For the vision of a new Africa. This is not just a story about deportations, it's a story about dignity. And maybe, just maybe, the beginning of a new chapter for Africa.